Hi guys, and so now I'm back. Sorry about the last video. It did get cut off. I actually ran out of phone storage, so I had to get those 2 videos loaded up to YouTube, and then I had to get them deleted off of my phone so that I could continue and finishing what I'm doing here. A little bit of change of scenery. I am at home, so I've got several pets at home. None of the kids are at home though, but husband is home and stuff, so if you hear some noise in the background, that's kind of what we're doing. But I wanted to go ahead and finish it, and that way I could get it loaded up tomorrow night instead of having it delayed any longer. So what I did is I taped where I was so that I could pick up where I left off at and showing you guys. And I watched the video back to see exactly, you know, what I was doing and where I was. It takes a really long time for videos to load up to YouTube. Like it's taken 10 hours before. So yeah, a really long time. So where I had left off at was we had 2 royals and this lighter blue, and then we were going into 1, 2, 3 of this really pretty light color that I call the splash, because sometimes there's only 1 stitch of it. So we're gonna do 3. We're just gonna pick right back up here and keep on going. 1, 2, and 3, and let's see, it's been a day and a half, so my tension is going to be different than what I was doing. So I've got a little bit of a split there. I might go ahead and tighten that up. Let's see here. Well, that one is actually kind of split too, I believe. I've got my flash on so that it has so it can be a little bit brighter. I'm going to continue to see where the other ones land, and if they need to be tightened or loosened, then I'll go back and loosen it from there too. So we had those 3, 1, 2, 3, up and over 1, and then I've got these 2 turquoise, 1 and 2, and a lighter blue. Oh look, I got a split leg there, but I'm gonna have to continue on with it. So 1, 2, 3 of the splash. 1, 2. Tighten her up here because that looks like it might be a little short. 3. It's great on one side, but if you flip it over, a lot of times it'll come through on that side, but that time it didn't. See how it kind of came through on that side where it was muddy? Yeah, it's a little muddy there too. But I think we're gonna be okay. Alright, and then these 2 blue. So we just want to go up 1 and over 1, up 1 and over 1. So we're gonna have 2 of that color blue. 1 and 2. 2 of the turquoise. 1. Oh, and I only got 1 out of that one. It's already going into the other color. So I'm gonna have to really tighten this one up. Alright, and then 2. Very good. Looks like only 1 of this turquoise is here, and I'm looking, and it goes into the darker color there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get just the 1 stitch out of that one and then into 2 blue. So 1, perfect, and 2 of the blue. And then 1 turquoise. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And this was that one where I think it could kind of, that one there could kind of split between the royal and this darker dusky color. So 2, 3, and 2, and they're all going to be blue, and they're all really close in color. The shades are just a little bit different, so if they kind of run in together, that's fine, as long as you have 2, 3, and 2, as long as you have 7 stitches of this combo, then we're good. Let's see here, where am I at? Alright, so here, so I need one more. Pull a little tight here to make it fit. Good. I've got 1, 2, 3. What I'm trying to do right now is get to the end so that I can show you this turning sequence. Because I guarantee it, the people that are still struggling with plan pooling, they're losing it in the turns. Besides where I showed you kind of like where I messed up on that previous one, looking at the wrong row, trying to make sure that they're lining up correctly, missing it, that happens too. That splash wasn't very big. The splash is kind of up into here, so I'm going to tighten it up because I want more of a splash there to come through. Maybe. Okay. 2, and we are at our end here. 1 and 2. This macaw is so long. It's gonna be really, really pretty though. So we got 1, 2, and then here's where I did a modified puff whenever I went into this first turning row, and I'm gonna do it again and see if my stitches land. That's a split leg. Okay, so it's supposed to be 2. I do believe it's supposed to be 2. So we'll see. But see, it's on this side here is split, so I'm really not sure what it is. The importance of not having split stitches and not having muddy legs, and this is a prime example. All right, 1, I'm gonna go ahead and do a modified. That's number 2 and 3. Turn. So I count 2 stitches in the turn. And the modified puff stitch and then the chain, I count all that as 2 stitches. Okay, so then a stitch here. All right, and then we've got 2. Perfect. 1 and 2. The tricky part of this one now is going to be whenever we come back out of this, exactly how many stitches this is going to wind up being once it goes across the row. In order to determine that, we're really going to have to look at the placement of these, and as long as we're getting these placed right, then we're going to know how many stitches this is actually going to be. So it's 1, let's see, I've got, when I'm coming out of this, I had 1 here, I had 2 of these lighter stitches, and 1, 2, 3 of the royals. So I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, or 2 and 2. See, it's tricky. 2 here, 1 and 2, 2 and 2. So it's gonna be 2 and 2, not 2 and 3. But that's my guess. We'll know for sure whenever we come out, and as these gradually move over and up, and these will start moving this way, then we'll know what the count is. All right, so now we are looking at this row and this row. Okay. And I need to look at my work and not look at it through my phone, through my camera lens. Okay, so here, so I've got 2 of these. 1 and 2. 3 royal. 1, 2. Not enough to make 3 royal. Tighten her up. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm on this row here, so I'm looking at 1, 2, 2 and 2. 1, 2, 1, this color, so I need to tighten up. Make sure I'm counting right. Remember, like I did last time, I totally messed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. One, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. This is super long. Looks like I got 2 of the dusky and 3 of the royal in this. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's what I'm looking at. And whenever it kind of blends in really bad like that, just make sure it comes out correctly on the other end as well if you're unsure of your stitches. So I've got 2 of the dark dusky and 3 of the royal. 1, 2, like here I'm going into turquoise and I'm not real sure. Say I'm not sure exactly where I'm supposed to be. So if I go with turquoise in this next stitch and I look down, I've got turquoise right there. So I know that that's wrong. So this here, so I need to be up 1 and over 1. So I'm going to need to get 1 more of the royal blue stitches. So I'm going to pull these out back to here, tighten her up. So it was 2 and then it was 3. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Two, and then a splash. I like the splash, it's pretty. See, we got the splash here and here. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, and then the darker. 1, 2, 3, and then the darker. I really think my tension has gotten a lot looser, a lot more loose since I made the last 2 videos because I'm having to tighten stitches up. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 of the light, but it looks like it's gonna be a little tad muddy. And it is. And I don't want split leg. So I was just talking about that I was too loose and then I wasn't loose enough. So to go a little bit looser here. 1, 2. Alright, better. 2 splash. Alright, and stop and check and see where we are. Okay. Oh, sorry if I was leaned over too far there. Alright, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we got 1 royal dark, royal blue. 1, 2 of the splash. Two turquoise. And then the other shade of the turquoise. Teal. Here, and then I've got 2 blue. That one's got a split leg too. And then we go into royal. 1, 2, 3 royal, and then a dark blue. 3 royal, and then there's a darker dusky. So I'm definitely not a professional YouTube maker thing. I record with my phone. My phone right now is sitting on top of my Yeti cup because I've got it plugged in. Otherwise, the battery goes low really quick whenever I'm making videos with it. 2 and 2. So I'm looking to the side to trying to see my work, because it's kind of difficult whenever you're looking in the camera at it, because it's going kind of fast and it kind of blurs just a little bit how fast my fingers move. And so I move to the side to look, and then sometimes my work works its way over to the side or to that side. So I apologize whenever I do that, but that's why, because I'm looking at my work underneath it. Okay, so here we have, this is where we were. These two here are these two here. Up one and over one. Up one and over one. And these colors are, I hope you can really see the difference in them. Whenever I'm looking at the camera, it looks like they're almost all the same color. But looking at the actual yarn, you can definitely see the differences in them. I have 2 teal, but down here I only have 1. And then 2 blue. So that's not going to work because I have a lot of the teal left for just 1 stitch. And then down here we just have the 1 stitch because we have the 2 dusky and the 2 dusky, and then that teal, and then those 2 royals, and then another dusky, and then dark dusky. So I'm going to loosen these duskies up and see if I can loosen that up enough to just have 1 stitch. And it may not, I mean, that's totally the yarn there. I mean, it is kind of loose, but not loose enough to have made it into 2 stitches, to have made it easily into 2 stitches. What I've got here on this row would easily be 2 stitches. So, loosen her up. Wow, see? Okay. And, I mean, and even going into it, it's not a split leg or anything. I thought maybe it's a split, because that's so much color left over, even still. So I really don't like that. What I'm gonna do is I took it out. I'm gonna loop it around here. I'm gonna try and eat up some of this yarn here. I'm gonna pull it through. A little bit crazy there, but that's kind of what I did. I just folded that loop over just to pull in some extra yarn. I don't do it very often, but sometimes I have to do that. Sometimes that happens, but it is another way, creative way, to eat up a little bit of yarn if needed, and then that's all that it looks like. You really can't even tell, and there's not a big gap, not any bigger than any of the others. So once it comes back over the top, it's completely covered. You don't see it at all. It just blends right in with the work. So that was a pretty good example of having to do that. I think with Macaw, I've run into just about everything almost. I haven't ran into having to do a whole bunch of rows, like a whole bunch of stitches of half double crochets. That's whenever you have quite a bit of yarn. I don't like to do a half double with just 1 stitch like that one, only because it does create such a big hole. To me it does anyway, and once it's finished, once the project is done, you really can't tell, but some things just bug me. And the half double crochets might not bother you in your work, and that's fine. I know a lot of people who go ahead and use a half double. I also tried doing a modified puff in a stitch too, like inside the work, not just on the edges. Of course I do it mainly on the edges. On the long tail chain side, I do a modified puff, and it counts as 2 stitches. The modified puff plus the chain up, I count those as 2, because one of your legs is not going to land. But on the other side, all your legs have to land. But I don't like doing, there was my dog. I don't like doing a modified puff throughout because it does tend to show up. Okay, I'm stacking. You see, all of a sudden I discovered that I'm stacking and that I'm fixing to have a royal blue stitch right here above this one. I get to talking, get to chatting. So now I gotta figure out why I'm stacking. And I see right here why. I've got these two duskies here and I only have one dusky. So that's why all of a sudden I'm stacking. I got the teal and the teal, but now I've got the dusky blue and I needed two dusky blues. So let's fix that. Alright, I'm going to make them tight and get two dusky blues out of this. Okay, so now I've got the pretty splash color. I need two of those. One and two. And then the royal. Now it's where it needs to be. Very good. And now I've got 1, 2, 3 of the teal. 1, 2, 3. And then it goes into 1, 2, 3, 4. That other blue there, and then a dark dusky. So let's see if I'm gonna have the dark dusky after this stitch. Yes, but it needs to be a little bit more loose because I had a little bit too much of that color left that was going to wind up going into one of the legs. So I loosen them up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Still, let's see what it's going to look like. I'm going to kind of hold it here. I'm going to hold it here so that I don't pull any of this through. I'm going to make sure it's just pulling from that side. Let's see. No, it's a split leg. And up and over. Alright, so here I'm going to go ahead and use my example of the half double crochets that I do. Whenever I do them, I want to do at least 5 of them, and I'll show you why. Okay, I go ahead and I loop over and I do a half double. I loosen it up, it's kind of loose. Me, personally, I don't add a chain stitch here because it makes it too wide, too gappy. So I just continue doing half double crochets without a chain all the way over. And now I'm into the blue. Is that where I need to be? I'm checking here. Maybe I ate up too much yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I ate up too much yarn. But that's how I do whenever I do the half double crochets. I do about 5 of them so that whenever you come back through, you can see that the next stitch above it, it's going to be right here, here, and here. And it's not gaping, it's not really big, it's not noticeable at all that it was a half double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and not do them as loosely as I had done them and see how that goes. Sometimes I gotta do them really loose in order to eat up enough of the yarn, since I don't do the stitch in between. Muddy leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since that was a muddy leg, I tightened up that last one and make it into a normal stitch. Good. Okay. That one's kind of going into the next color, but I can accept it. I'll accept it this time. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2 of the dark dusky. And I only have one. Pull it back a little farther. Whenever you come out of it, tighten it up into your next stitch. And that way, because you did a half double crochet, so if you tighten it up there, you can add that extra stitch as you go into it. Maybe that's what I need. Well, I've tried tightening it up too throughout, but throughout doing like a whole bunch of half doubles. So that's just one of my suggestions. That's just one of the little things that I do. People do everything differently, so whatever works best. Alright. Got 2 of this turquoise, 2 splash, and 2. Two of the turquoise. 2 royal, 2 dark dusky, and then 1 blue. Like that. That looks like a really big gaping hole there, but once it's all completed, it's really not. It disappears. 1, 2, 2 dusky, which is the darker dusky. I just make up names for the colors that I see. Kind of helps me get through it. 1, and then a turquoise, and then I got 1, 2 royals, and a lighter blue, and 3 splash. Oh, I hope I went out of the camera there, sorry. 1, 2 royals, 2 royal, 1 blue, and 2 splash. It's a whole lot of rippity rip and redo. 2 royals, 1 blue, 3 splash. And that is how you make it work. That's how you line it up. You make sure it's landing where you want it to land. Watch your split legs, because that can interfere with your count because you don't know which side it belongs to. 1, 2 of the teal. I'm getting close to this other end. Yay. I'm hoping that this is enough of the tutorial on this one, because I'm not going to make a 4, I don't believe. 1, 2, 3, but I've got too much in this one. Okay, 1, 2, 3 splash. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. Good, that's better. 1, 2, 3. 2 and 3. I plan on doing Woodsy. Woodsy was a beast to conquer. I was having problems at that time with corners and edges and count. It's like, where do I start with this beast? It was the devil. There were times I almost cried over it. I would get so frustrated, It was such a long sequence, and even knowing it was a long sequence and making it through the sequence itself, I was still not landing stitches right. And then I figured out how to do it. And once I tackled Woodsy, I knew then I could do anything. I didn't get a whole lot of help with it. I mean, like, people tried to help. They were saying, you know, well, it's a long sequence, it's got this and this, you know, and it's got this, and it's about 42 inches long, and, well, that's all great and fine and dandy, but it just doesn't really help whenever you're trying to do your count and trying to figure out, where do I turn? Where do I start with? Where do I begin my second row? Where do I begin my third row? Where is it supposed to line up at? Whenever I had all those issues with that, and then once I learned how to conquer it, that's whenever I decided, you know what, I want to help other people who had the same issues that I had. And that's kind of what got me started on really wanting to help people. Because once I tackled Woodsy, I didn't have any problems with anything else. And now I just pick them up, just like I did this macaw. I picked it up on the first go around, and I got it to pull immediately. Once I got through the first entire color sequence, once you know where to turn it, how to start, you are good to go. You are golden. You'll be able to pull anything at all. 1, 2, 1 and 2. That was like with black light. I picked up black light and got it to pull the first time out. And black light's really pretty. All of these turn out so very pretty. Alright, you see where I'm at? I'm looking here, and I'm going to go right here. I gotta watch myself though, because I get to talking, and then I'll lose my place and not paying attention because I go off into la la land with my stories. Alright, and then a blue. A splash. And here we are coming up to the end. Yay. 2 of these. And then I'm going to explain the ends one more time. I know that's where most people are losing it. If they're still losing it, not getting it right, they're losing it in the ends, in the turns. 1, 2, and then a royal, and then a royal. So, and remember the other side, I said that it was 1, 2, and then 1 and 2. And that's the same here, 1, 2, 1 and 2. On the non-long tail side, all your legs have to land. Alright, so it's 1 and 2. Whenever you go through here, flip it over, make sure that you have the V. You want both of those stitches to run through, because sometimes if you go through here, it's really easy to accidentally split it, to split that V stitch, and you don't want to split the legs. You want to make sure that it's on both sides there. Alright, so that was 2, and then I got to chain up one more, turn, and then 2 royal blues, 1 and 2. And once you turn and you get through the turn, you want to stop and check your work. So here I've got the splash, splash, and my splash, which is on my hook now, is going to land right here. I'm going to have 1 and 2. And that's perfect. That's exactly where I want it to be. And this is going to go like a breeze now. It's going to go super easy, because now you'll be able to definitely see, it's more definitive where you are. I remember by your third row, you're going to be able to see, it has to start lining up by the third row. If it's not going to line up, then you got to pull back. Something is wrong somewhere. And you just keep on working. And I really hope and pray that this helps you. See, 3 royals, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So keep a lookout for other videos. If there's a certain particular color that you're wanting, that you're needing to try, that you're having a difficult time with, if I've got it, I'd love to work with you on it. If not, even if I don't have it, you can always shoot me a message. I'm on Facebook, Donna McElvaney, and you can message me. And I'd love to help you get through it and stuff, because I know how difficult it can be. It is such a process sometimes. So as we look here, all right, because that's the one I just added, and then you can see they're the same. We have the 2 stitches here, 2 here, we have 2 here and 2 here. We have the 1, 2, and then the 1 and the 2. We had the 1, 2, and then the 2. So on your long tail, long chain, the tail side, this modified puff stitch and the chain up counts as 2 stitches. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So that's how I work those out. 1, 2, and then the next one is 8 up in the chain, and then the 2. All right, guys, I hope that helps, and God bless, and see you next time.